How are you this morning, everybody?
Good, good.
Well, I put a bunch of time in this thing. It's complicated, but it's doable. Um, we have access to the main floor, this floor here, piping in a chase, correct, Dave?
Yes.
That we can get in behind and repipe everything. There's going to be a little tile work possibly. I put in water closet stools that were tank type this time. You have flush valve. You can do either or. Okay. So, I mean, there's a little price change, but we'll absorb that. If you want to stay with the flush valve in the base floor, after looking at the bathroom and it's got tile on the back, I think we'll probably stay with flush valve because I don't want to interrupt that tile and try to match it and all that.
Right.
So we just take everything out, repipe below and back behind, and be done with it. Okay. So I didn't figure on replacing anything in the floor and busting up floors. Did we scope floor?
Did you scope anything inside the building, James? You were here for that.
Just outside, right?
Just outside now.
So I'm going to assume that most of that stuff in that floor is probably okay. We don't really run into much on that, but it could be there. You know, the last one we did, they did have some that failed. And before we put all this money into it and do what we're going to do, we may want to scope it one more time just to see that the floor, the main underneath the concrete is okay. And if it is, we'll just reattach above floor and then go up. Okay.
So you would leave the cast or whatever it is
Oh my God,
underneath.
you start
this.
tearing that up,
Yeah.
your whole building's gonna be torn up.
Yeah.
That's why I leave it. So unless we got a spot that's collapsed, then we will cut that spot open, but I think we probably ought to spend the money to rescope one more time inside, not just outside. We scoped the outside, there was a failure in the outside,
Mhm.
about halfway out. It's got vitreous clay tile from the best of our ability that we can tell on it, so that's not unusual. A lot of the old buildings were done in cast iron, which does fail over time. The vitreous class tile is, you've probably seen it before, it has a hub every 4 feet. And the problem with that is that it has a greater risk of settlement because of so many joints. And those nice trees you got there are, they love to crawl in that clay tile, and that's probably what you're dealing with. It's pulled it. I figured taking it from the outside wall, which is probably cast stubbed out, and connecting onto that cast to the curb and stopping, not interrupting the street because that's where it gets expensive. And reattach, you know, in the street, it's probably not going to have a problem. Reattach and put all new PVC main in from the building out to the curb and stop. If it is that we see it, I just would do it time material. We have to get a hold of the city at that point. They got to cut the curb, cut the street, dig down. They got to work with us to retap. So I left it right there.
Is that something that we could come back to and replace if need be?
Yes,
Okay,
you're out in the open. It's not like underneath concrete here.
okay.
That's why I'd like to probably have you rescope one more time in here, just the main. That's all I'm concerned about. And hopefully we don't have a collapse on that, but I'm not gonna say yes or no. But I don't think you've had any drainage issues in building, have you?
Not inside, it's just mainly on outside for problems.
Yeah. So if the cast is good inside, I'd bide my time on it, leave it. You can always fix that too, because basically what you're gonna do is start ripping up concrete. And I'm just trying to keep it as far away from that as I can right now.
Yeah.
Up the stacks is a different story. So your main bathrooms are on the main floor. You've got a total of 7 bathrooms, that's correct? 2 on the main floor and 5 up?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of wrote in here, I wrote you a long letter here. You can absorb. I figured on those bathrooms, the problem is that they put that piping in that wall and they're covered up. They didn't put a chase in, nothing. It's buried in the wall. So you have to have a vent stack and all the water supply that's got to get back to where you're starting from. There we may use tank type and we might have to be below the ceiling of the next floor to some degree and try to case it in or something. We'll have to talk about that. I wanted to get you a number that you're dealing with here. Quite a bit of work on those walls. We're gonna take another sample for asbestos today for the walls that they didn't do, so we're doing it for them. Gonna cut 2 1-inch holes and put it in an envelope, and we're gonna get it to Wichita tonight. We don't think there's asbestos in your wall. From the time frame of what the building was built as, asbestos was not really used in plaster until about 1955 on. So earlier plaster typically didn't have that in it. And they used it for insulation and also a binder. In other words, just like you cook, they put a binder in to keep that plaster to stick. That's what they did it for. Well, that was a big mistake. But they're telling us that they don't see much asbestos below 55, and I think this is way, way older than that. This building's what, about 1930?
31.
Yeah, I guess pretty well.
Yeah.
So we're thinking it's gonna be clean. So if that's the case, what we would do, you're gonna give you 2 options. We'll adjust the pricing accordingly and be fair about it. The best way to do it would be to cut a strip behind the stool on the wall and over towards the lavatory, if it's got tile on it or not. And put our piping back in and test it, and go back across the top of it. We wouldn't go back across the top of the tile, I don't think. I put 5/8 fireproof sheetrock with a bead on the bottom, and cover the wall and glue it and screw it to the wall, and repaint that section with a texture of some sort, and call it quits. And we'd readjust the fittings and the fixtures out at 5/8 of an inch. The other one would be to try to, because you're not going to plaster again and get an even match.
Never.
I mean, I got a open hole in the wall trying to match that it's really the elevation of it, the thickness that he's going to have a hard time getting to, because you got to scrape and way overlap to get that, which you're not going to get. So I kind of left it open-ended. I put some money in for it. I think I put $8,000 in to do 5 bathroom back walls and sheetrock, and that's all negotiable in this deal. I'll sit down and show you the numbers and what you want to do. If you want tile on it again, we'll have to throw some money in for tile. It's just whatever you want to do, but that's kind of the way these things work. You kind of have to walk before you run on some of this stuff. The stuff we know about, we can give you a hard number on. So we're also included a new water heater. It's a 30-gallon electric. That's not a big deal. And you can read this, and I'll read it with you so that you understand. Get a little lengthy in verbiage here, but I like to make sure you understand everything that's going on.
Pass one to him and just make a circle.
Clerk, you want to give one to the county clerk, please? Your, not to interrupt your reading, but
That's right.
your tunnel's full of asbestos. There's not just asbestos on the pipe, they've scraps laying all over the floor. So you can't put anybody in there until that's clean.
I notice you're going back in with copper too? Is
All
that correct?
Type L copper with 1-inch fiberglass insulation on it.
Okay,
Unless it's got a curved pipe that we can't get the fiberglass on, which is rigid, we'll use foam Rubitex on those to insulate them.
okay.
And we may use some PEX piping in there. So there's gonna be some spaces where we're gonna have to do this kind of thing.
Snake
to
it through?
Snake it through,
Okay.
and then we'll insulate it with foam, or if the PEX doesn't really have to be insulated, the copper does. So we'd probably use PEX on that and pull it. when you get down to, I've got to explain the sewer to you. The fixtures, here's what I'll do on fixtures. And again, I'll adjust the pricing. I'll give you a schedule ahead of time, so we'll be playing around here. You want to save any fixtures, we'll save them. And that, I have no issue with that. We'll probably take good care of them, get them out. You do run the risk of something chipping when you remove, but
Absolutely.
it's not a great risk. I mean, it's probably a 10 to 20% risk of overall. You might chip something, but if you want to save fixtures, and I see a lot of them are in pretty good shape, we'll take the fixtures back out and credit it to you, and we'll reuse them and clean them up and put them back in. Flush valves, I would change. I wouldn't mess with them.
I agree.
It's time for a new flush valve. Now, the faucets, I have saved them all. We'll save your faucets for you. Lavatories, actually, Dave, they look nice.
Some of the lavatories are very well.
So if we take them off and we have a place we can store them and put some cardboard around them, clean them up,
Okay.
I'm gonna put the same thing back in anyway. That's what I looked up. You'll see the sheets on the back. You just tell me what you wanna do and I'll readjust the quote and give you the totals on them.
And the porcelain you probably reuse, but like the P-traps, the valves, the supply stops, I would think you'd wanna update those when
No,
you
we
update
won't.
the new system.
All new supply stops, all new
I would.
line
Yeah.
feeds, all new traps. I won't do it. I won't you reuse old. They'll just fall apart on you. But the fixture itself, we can, if you wanna save them, wanna match what you got, we don't have to adjust anything. We'll take them off, we'll clean them up, we'll put them back. And the risk of chipping one is pretty low, but if it is, then you're gonna eat it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Some of they're caulked to the floor. We gotta make sure the caulk relieves itself. But we can cut it so that we don't, because it'll stick to that porcelain and wanna chip it, but we'll pull it off.
Labor-wise, does that make sense?
What's that?
Labor-wise, does that make sense?
To save them?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yes.
The toilets have the side discharge.
wonder-
you wouldn't
no,
wanna use.
some-
Yeah, some of the toilets we cannot reuse.
Yeah.
Because they have some side discharge.
Size in, size.
So as we re-rough from a tunnel, now those back here are not like that, Dave.
No, they're not, they're the top ones.
So the ones that were up on the other floor, they'll be tank type. Which
Okay.
they're not used that much.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
These are the ones that you have to be careful about. We'll put some tank type in that have more serviceable parts. You don't have to worry about a flush valve. We'll re-rough it, put new piping up, and we'll get rid of those old stools. Some of them have side discharge and flush valves on them. We want to get rid of that. You can't get those anymore, actually.
Yeah.
That's a special order if you can get somebody to build them for you.
You wouldn't want to do that.
Well, you can. It's just, you're talking, somebody will look at you and say, well, okay, give me 52 weeks and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about. So I try to make this as clean and inexpensive as I can, but this is where it's at. We've got, some of this money can come down if, tearing the walls open are a deal. It's not just the 8,000 we have for the walls, it's the labor to go in and demolish and come back out again.
Yeah.
Is higher, but if you didn't tear a wall open, for example, and say we couldn't get into it because of asbestos, in that, which would be another added number to the asbestos you already got, which you have to do, then what we could do, if we can get there, is expose some piping with a PVC cover. I don't really like to do that, but if they're not being used by the general public, which the general public is on the main floor, and it's for the staff up there, it's probably not gonna be the end of the world. Again, this is a walk before we run thing. We gotta get direction, tell me what to do. I'll go back and readjust the quote and prices, tell you what we can do it for. And the one that we did in Ellsworth County, and we did not do an outside sewer on that one, or walls, we had all chases, was $285,000. So it's in line with travel and all those other things that we're dealing with.
I don't think your price is outrageous.
And the asbestos is not included
No.
in this, that's
You-
the separate.
Right, you got that quote already, right?
Yes, yes, we do.
And then if the walls in the bathrooms have it, then we have to adjust.
Right.
I'm guessing that it doesn't have anything in there, so we're clear. Then all we have to decide is, do I want to tear this wall up or not?
Right.
If there is asbestos in the walls do you have to take all the wall out or?
No, we'll strip it to what we want to do. We would probably forego the tile that's on it, take it off. they'll have to give us a price to come in, and they'll do a couple of them at a time. We'll have to price them to do that. We could do it all, but then you're gonna have these walls wide open, and they got asbestos, but have to cover it with plastic, because you can't let anybody in. So the key is gonna be, you gotta get in, you gotta fit it up, you gotta get it covered right away. Because covering asbestos is okay, as long as it's sealed. But that's why we can leave the old asbestos and actually go in with a piece of rock and glue it and screw it, and then retape and mud and all that stuff. But it really is a bathroom or two at a time. 'Cause- and we could probably do them all if we had to, but then we'd have to cover it with plastic and seal it, right, Dave?
Either plastic or seal, or we could put, the quarter-inch masonite screw to it. It would look ugly, but it would be safe to use. So there is ways of doing it. It's just the aesthetic of it's gonna be,
Actually, the bathrooms on the main floor are gonna, if you use the same fixture, it's gonna be a pretty clean deal.
they won't be bad.
We do all of our work in the you don't even see us. All the work's in the chases and tunnels and do all that, and we come up and do the bathroom main floors and outside sewer, and then you're operable. Then we have to go up and deal with all the stuff that's up in the walls and where it crawls to and how we get up there and how we cut it out, and if we have to abandon anything, which I typically don't abandon much. I don't like doing that. I like things out of the way, but there could be some bends and crooks and so forth that we don't know that somebody did that we may not be able to get to. So that's as best a study that I can give you, and as well as anybody I think around here is gonna give you on this building, so.
Yeah.
It's pretty detailed, so this is your first file, there's another one. Okay, so
Probably
I
not done.
like to do my homework, so I've done my homework on this thing, and I know where
So
I'm
when
at.
you come in with your roller case behind you, you know we're in trouble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been at his desk again way too long, somebody stop him.
So you're gonna test a few things today and make sure there's no more asbestos.
We're gonna
in
drill
some
2 more
places.
holes where he'll allow us to drill, that'll be 1 inch in diameter. We'll put them in a Ziploc bag, and they'll go in an envelope and go to Wichita, they'll do a test. Or send it to the state to do a test, either way.
Okay.
They may do one, they may several. Once they tell us if there's asbestos in it, then we have things to talk about.
Right.
Once they don't, it's pretty easy.
Okay.
We gotta move forward. This will probably, without a doubt, be done in phases. So the guy that I would probably have doing this job, Dave, is that correct, would be Glenn Mater?
Most likely Glenn and Gabe.
Glenn's out of Colby office. Was in Hoxie, born and raised. He's a superintendent for us that's just finishing up a job in Atwood. Big, what is the name of that project?
SurePoint,
Shrewport Ag.
yes, we're putting their new.
We're doing all their work up there.
Okay.
So instead of sending him to McCook, we're doing a project, we're gonna bring him here, if that's what you wanna do. And he'll be drilled, by the way. We do all of our superintendents. Take him to the job site, we do a pre-construction with them, and you can have a representative here if you'd like, and we tell him what we want done, what our expectations are, and he reports this to us on a daily basis with photos. So we know what's going on, and where he can go, and what he can do. So just so you know, the way I work with my company is we don't play around with, I told you the last time, the A word, asbestos. We also don't play around with smoking, swearing, drinking, nothing. You're neat and clean, you come in, you act like a gentleman, you don't talk to the staff unless you're talked to or asked to doing so. We keep it straight up and narrow, so there won't be any problems. He's done a lot of jobs for us, and they know exactly what we expect, because we do a lot of schools, and we don't mess with that. If some things are gonna get dusty and dirty, they'll try to clean them as fast as they can. That's the only bad downside to plaster, is when you cut it, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
You gotta try to envelope it as best
How
you can.
about dust, Mr.?
A little bit of dust in those walls.
He tore out a chunk of wall.
Did you? You find some in there, did
We
you?
had some of the dirty 30 dirt in there.
I'm just watching an HBO on the Dirty 30s right now, now as you say that. It was awful. My grandma used to tell me south of Monument, they took a scoop every morning, and her and the girls took all the dirt out every morning, out of the windowsills, cleaned it up while the men went out to the fields, and then they baked bread. They started the day off. And I said, wow, I can't believe it. You imagine living like that?
Tough people. Tough.
Joe,
Yes.
you said you remember about.
Oh, something that, when we get all the pricing situated, I mean, you need to remember that you probably ought to put some form of a contingency in. I'm not gonna use it unless you give me permission. But I don't want you to think that this is our budget and then we don't have any other problems, and I think you know better than that too.
Yeah.
You probably ought to put some form of contingency in case we run into a electrical outlet that was buried in the wall that nobody knew about that has to be, that's kind of stuff you run into that you didn't take care of yourself. And if we see something, we want to report it and get it done. Put some money in for a contingency that I can come to you and say, this is what's gonna cost for this item, add it onto the contract, so forth and so on. This is a project that would require a bond. According to the state statute, it's over $100,000. You'll have to add 2% to whatever we agree upon, and I have to pay a performance company for the state statute to comply for you guys. If not, you're gonna be reviewed, and they'll write it up in your review that you didn't do that, because I've seen it happen.
Okay. So the asbestos proposal now has nothing to do with what you're
The
testing
walls,
today.
right.
Correct.
So we could approve that to move forward no matter what.
That absolutely should be done right now.
Yeah,
Somebody needs to get in here
and get
and
that
clean it
done.
up so that when you have time to do this before the snow gets deep,
Uh-huh.
we can get something done. Okay? And I'd like you to give me another approval to do a scoping of the interior as well. I'd like to scope that sewer inside.
I think that's a very wise idea to make sure that you know what you're getting into.
Right. We don't want to put all this in and then say, oh, we got a failed sewer.
Right.
Well, let's deal with that on the front
Because
end,
if we
not the
gotta
back
deal
end.
with that first, we need to
Right.
get it done.
Right, and that's
Yes.
gonna be that's tearing carpet up and rematching carpet and floors and wall. If it's just a patch, you can go into a room and isolate it and patch it and go and get back to it. But if it's collapsed more than that, that's a whole nother deal. I don't think it's gonna be that way. But it's
But we
the best
need to
insurance
know.
you got.
We need to know.
So if you approve that with the asbestos, and then we can talk about what you wanna do with the rest of it. We'll get somebody out here to scope that again. I think you scoped once the sewer, we'll combine those bills and you can, I don't know, if we send a bill
I
to
think
that.
we already
You've
paid
received
that.
all
Those
the
need to
first
be
things.
paid for their testing, and then we need to go ahead with the asbestos, and we need to go ahead with another scope. And then you can,
We'll probably have to coordinate that scope with the time that we can have a plumber here to pull the toilet. Because I think,
well, we'll just get Glenn out here or somebody,
Yeah.
Dave.
yeah, I'm just saying. We'll
Run him
have-
over from Atwood.
Well, I make a motion that we approve the 35,100 for the asbestos removal and to allow Glassman's to scope the sewer under the courthouse.
I second that.
Been moved and seconded, we accept the bid of $35,100. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion's passed, so.
And then you'll be in touch with us again.
And then you
when-
want-
As soon as I know,
Okay,
you'll know, and then I'll just jump in my little wagon
okay,
and find out something. I got another 2 clients to see here today. We've got to go see the hospital. They got a big issue. They've got a failed main water line coming underneath the parking lot.
You want us to have a formal motion for you to, go ahead and do the scoping?
No, your motion is good. All
Okay.
I need is a copy of it for my records. If you could send me an email with a copy that says that the motion's been passed in the minutes, that's all I need.
Okay.
And then I'll go see the hospital, and then I'll go see Mr. Chipperfield, and then I gotta go to Ray, Colorado.
okay, you're busy.
I did a good job for them up there, and they remembered me and said, you need to get up here to the courthouse right now. We're
much-
a long way from home.
How much you think as a contingency fund we should set?
Maximum 10%, maximum.
Maximum, okay.
So if you got a $300,000 job, you ought to be putting $30,000 away. And then if you don't use it, it's yours. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not mine to
it's-
control. It's mine to request. But I have the right to go up to the maximum. Okay, that's how we do it.
Okay,
And you hear all of that. As far as, I put in the literature, as far as all your judgments in the field, you're gonna have some judgments to make in the field when you're not here that we will go to There may be
Then I would assume he'd be your representative.
represent, make him the owner's representative, and he will confer with us, and we'll say, this is what we'd like to do. Do you have any other thoughts? Do you want tile on the wall? Do you not want tile on the wall? There's gonna be an added expense to this, but not to this. He makes a decision. And that would come out of contingency then. That makes sense?
Makes sense.
Either that or I'm gonna, yeah, it's gonna be, you don't wanna be micromanaging all this.
No.
Let me handle it with him. You'll get a good job out of it.
Okay.
And, he'll confer with us, and this is the guy I want to lay the tile, if you want tile, blah, 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 blah. That's how you do it. Okay,
Yep.
all right.
Sounds good.
So I'll get back to you as soon as we get a sewer scope, and we'll get along the way here, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Before you go, I've got just one question. So this is a $307,000 project, obviously, a lot of money. That's not going to get any cheaper, is it?
No,
So even if we look at that and say, well, that's a lot of money, what we've got is, okay, we can limp along a year from now, it could be $400,000 or $500,000, correct?
well, I don't know if it'll be 4 or 5, but right now, I don't wanna get political here, but what's burying us right now on construction projects is tariffs. We are getting hammered.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and everything PVC, which has got tariffs on manufacture of some PVC, but especially cast and some of that other stuff that we work with, copper is at an all-time high.
Yep.
And I will not hesitate if copper got way out of line to tell you we should look at another resource. I don't have a better resource. Copper is the best, still the best resource for long term. If you're asking me for a 40 or 50-year plan, I'm telling you, and that's what I plan for.
Yeah.
That don't be putting, like, just like PEX I told you about, I will use that very sparingly. Because the lifespan of copper is the best. Are you water softening your product here?
No water softener.
It's something you really need to seriously consider, and I'm gonna tell you why. There's been towns, including Hayes, years ago, that had copper in all their homes and they had pinholes showing up. So remember that copper is not 100% copper. If you don't know that, I'll tell you it is. It's got tin in it. There's an alloy of bronze and tin in copper that you buy, okay? And if you have too much water softening or none at all, okay, you still have a corrosion factor, even though the water in Goodland is much, much, much better than east of here, okay? We're doing a project for Lincoln County Courthouse, and it's like rock coming through the faucets. I mean, it's all corroded, limestone. And the problem with is that if you have city conditioning or you use your regular water, it will attack the tin portion of that copper that's annealed inside, and it will present a pinhole. That I don't want you to have in 30 years. That's when it'll show up. Now we're tearing walls open again. So the best way to avoid that is to put a water softening system in that you actually maintain. Doesn't have to be very big. You're not using that kind of water here. But you ought to have something to make that water somewhat inert. So I don't know. I haven't looked at a test report for water out here lately. I mean, you got fairly good water out here, don't you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. So it's not a big risk. It may cost you $1,000 or $1,500 for a softener. You got to put some salt in it, but it takes away that risk because the softener keeps any scale from adhering to the piping. That's what it does for you. So it makes it flow through, so you get to swallow it when you have your glass of water.
Yeah.
But that's what it does for you. Okay.
Okay.
Those are suggestions we would come up with as we go. Like while we're doing this. But as far as the other part of it is the labor. Labor has jumped tremendously. I laugh because when I took over my firm, when my dad was a brother to my uncle that started Ed Glassman, when I took over the firm, they had a big fireproof lockbox down in the basement of our shop. I went down, I'd never been in it. Went down and unlocked it, opened it up. They had labor and material for jobs in it, little cards. Labor, 75 cents an hour. Right? This
Yeah.
is back in the 40s, right? Now you look at labor, and labor is the cost of the job. Material it's climbing now,
Yeah.
but for years it's been totally switched from what it was. So labor, and we don't know what's going to happen with materials. So when we do a job like this, we try to buy materials out in front of us as fast as we can. When we put it in stock, probably at Colby, we'll set it in. But we have it here. So, but you don't have mostly piping and labor is what you got in this job. So if that answers your question, I don't know if it does.
No, it is.
It's a roundabout way, but, okay. All right?
Good.
Do you want, this is the abatement contract?
Yes. We have 2 copies. I'll sign one right away. Or I can get a copy, maybe. Ken?
Make a copy and give it to him.
8th of September already, right out loud. Big Christmas, right around the corner.
Yes. As they say, the days are long and the years are short.
This year has gone by pretty quick.
It's very fast.
We'll find out what we can see on there. Scoping, and then we can, my opinion would be to take the chunk of wall out and just texture back.
Yeah, put 5/8 fire rock on it, it's
Yes.
heavier.
Yeah.
We'll put a trim on the bottom, it's a U-channel, they do that a lot with, this base. I don't wanna interrupt that base. That's old and it's tough to replace and it's tough to match, so I wanna be above the base.
Yep.
And we'll bring that J strip on the bottom, which will be stainless or aluminum, right down on top of that base, and then just stick out a little bit. Okay, it's yours?
Yeah.
We're good to go, gentlemen,
Good.
thank you for
Thank
your
you,
time.
sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to the county clerk as well, thank you. I'll call you back as soon as I know.
But it's not
Okay.
set in stone
But
yet.
yeah.
Would you
so
like me
I
to call
really
you
don't think I did
direct?
that yet. Yes.
No.
Until we
Clark?
get the final.
Or
Exactly.
she can get a hold of all of us then, because I can't call those two.
Okay. Meetings, right? You're talking about violation of the.
Yes.
Meetings Act, yeah. Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
We didn't have anything else on the agenda, so unless there's something else, I make a motion. We had, Brett's got something.
Oh, yeah.
We need 15 minutes for not elected.
So make a motion. We have executive session for 15 minutes for non-elected personnel.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to executive session till 9:32. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Meeting will come back to order. Is there anything else that needs to be brought before the commissioners at this time?
I don't have anything. That I make a motion, we adjourn.
That second?
Been moved and seconded, we adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's passed, meeting's adjourned.